Hello, welcome to the course of Computer Network. So today we are going to discuss about the IPv4 address. So in this class we are going to discuss about what is IPv4 address. Next we will discuss about the IPv4 address notation, and lastly we will discussing about the IPv4 address class. So starting with the very first, let's discuss about what is IPv4. So here the IPv4 stands for Internet Protocol version 4, and it is the fourth version of the IP addresses. So here the IPv4 is a connectionless protocol which is used in packet switch network such as the internet, and here it provides the logical connection between network devices by providing identification to each device. And here the IPv4 is designed and specified in IETF, that is Internet Engineering Task Force publication RFC 791. And here the one term is that is address space. Here the address space is the total number of addresses that is used by the protocol, and here as IPv4 is a 32-bit address, it means it consists of 2 raised to power 32 address spaces. It is around 4 billion, so it means 4 billion devices can be connected to internet by using IPv4 addresses. The next example of IPv4 address is given as 117.149.29.2. So this is the IPv4 address. Next is the IPv4 notation. So here the IPv4 address can be represented in two ways. The first one is binary notation and second one is a dotted decimal notation. So here, as we know, the IPv4 is a 32-bit address. Here in this they are represented in 4 octet, and each octet have the bits 0 and 1. So here you can see that this is a binary notation of this address. So this is represented in 4 octets. So this one is the first octet, after dot the second octet start, and this one is the third, and this one is the last octet, that is fourth one. So this is a 4 octet, and in each octet they are represented by binary 0 and 1 bit, and so this is a representation of binary notation. The next one is dotted decimal notation. Here in this, each number in dotted decimal notation value is range from 0 to 255. So we write the IPv4 address in decimal notation because to make it more compact and easy to remember or read. So as you can see that it is very difficult to remember this number like 10101100. So to make it compact and easy to read and remember, for that we use the decimal notation. So these binary bits are represented in decimal notation as 172.16.150.12. So here the range of the decimal notation start from 0 and it goes to 255. So this is a decimal notation and this one is a binary notation. Next we are going to discuss about the different classes of IPv4 addresses. So IPv4 addresses are divided into 5 classes: class A, class B, class C, class G and class E. So here in class A, the address ranges from 0 to 126, and here the number of networks are equals to 126 and the number of hosts are in 1 billion. After that in class B, here the address ranges between 128 to 191, and here the number of networks are in around 16,000. Whereas the number of hosts are in 65,000. In class C, here the address ranges from 192 to 223, and here the number of networks are around 2 billion, and here the number of hosts are in here the number of hosts are 254. Here you can see that here in class D, the class ranges from 224 to 239, and these are multicasting addresses, and in class E, the addresses are from 240 to 255 and it is reserved for the future use. So these are the different classes, and we have defined here these are ranges from this 0 to 255 in total. So here you can see that the address that is written here 172.16.150.12, this is a class B address, as 172 range lies between 128 to 191, and this is a class B address range. So that means this is a class B address. Next, the class is further divided into the first octet higher order number and the network and host ID. So class A having the 0 as the first octet higher order number, and here the network and host IDs are represented by the first octet will represent the network bit and the last 3 octet will represent the host bit. In class B, the first octet higher order number is 10, and here the first two octets are representing the network address, and last two octet will represent the host ID. Next, in class C, here the first octet higher order number is 110, and here the first 3 octet will represent the network bit, and last octet will represent the host ID. Whereas in class T, the first octet higher order number is 1110, and in class E, the first octet higher order number is 1111. Here the range, that is 127.0.0.0 are reserved for the low back testing. For example, like we use the 172.0.0.1 is the low back address. Whereas if all zeros are present in host ID, then it will represent the network address. If all ones are represented in host ID, then it will represent the broadcast address. Next is the representation of the IP address. Here the IP address is broken down into 4 set of octet and translated into binary to represent the actual IP address. So like here I am depicting how the IP address is represented into binary notation. Like this is given a decimal notation of this address. So this is a class C address, that is 192.168.5.2. So this class C address is represented in binary notation as, here I have represented this as a 2 raised to power 0 will 1, 2 raised to power 1 is 2, 2 raised to power 2 is 4, 2 raised to power 3 is 8, and 2 raised to power 4 is 16, 2 raised to power 5 is 32, 2 raised to power 6 is 64, and 2 raised to power 7 will give answer 128. So here this will represent a 8 bit in the octet. Like to So first decimal notation octet is represented by 192. So 192 is made by adding 128 plus 64 will give us a 192. So here we are making the bit of 128 and 64 as 1, and the rest are bits are 0. So in 168, here you can see that here the 128 plus 32 plus 8 will give us 168, and here the bit of 128, 32 and 8 are represented by 1, and the rest are represented by 0. Same way here the bit of the decimal notation as 5 is represented as the 4 plus 1 will give us 5, so the bit 4 and bit 1 is represented as 1, and the rest are represented as 0. Same as 2, here the 2 bit is represented by 1 and the rest are represented as 0. So in this way we change the decimal notation into the binary and as well binary to the decimal notation. So this is all about internet address, that is IPv4. Thank you.